You may have heard that size doesn't matter, but in Bannerlord, it really does.
That's what she said.
Obviously, there are some things like better troops or lower difficulties that can put a big sway on the success of a fight, but generally, having a bigger army is the best way to get a one-up on your opponent. So today I want to teach you all of the ways you can increase your army from a small band of warriors to an absolute army of soldiers that can just walk up and take down a castle without any help. Obviously, before getting into this, be aware that increased army size will lead to increased costs, so make sure you have the funds and the food to feed a bigger army. I do have a few guides on here on making money in the early and late game, so I'll link that down below if you need that too. And while you're down there, feel free to subscribe if you like Bannerlord guides, tips, battles, all that jazz. So, growing your army. I'm going to go over the more obvious ways that are the most impactful first, and then I'll go into some more niche ways that can increase your army limit. So the first tip is the most obvious and the biggest increase you're going to see in Bannerlord, and that's the clan tier. Most of you are probably already doing this already because it levels up naturally. So clan tiers grow with renown, and renown comes from winning battles. The harder the battle, the more renown. The odds are against you, you get more renown. Winning tournaments, completing quests, that kind of thing. And each time you level up your renown, you will get a much bigger party size. So clan tier 1, which unlocks at 50 renown, gives you a plus 25 to your party size. And then every clan tier after that increases your party size by 15. So plus 15 at tier 2, plus 15 at tier 3, 4, 5, and so on. I'll throw the renown costs on screen as well so you can see the breakdown, because the renown does kind of, it gets quite steep. You need a hell of a lot of renown to hit like tier 5. So don't rely only on renown to grow your army size, but that is the best way. So leveling up your clan tier, you can get a maximum growth of like 85 and increasing party size. So if you're trying to take the world on your own, that's not nearly enough to take down the big armies, the big castles. So I want to go into some other ways outside of your clan tier that can increase your party limit. So yeah, the second one, this is just as big as the clan tier in my opinion, but it's not nearly as recognized and not nearly as utilized by most people. And that's upgrading the Steward skill tree. So it's not combat, it's not money making. So a lot of people just completely ignore this skill. At my first playthroughs of Bannerlord, I completely ignored it and neglected it too. Until I got into the end game and realized it's like the governor skill. So it's like how you manage your cities, your towns, your people. And yeah, in the early game, it's easy to completely ignore it. You can mostly level the Steward skill passively by having like high party morale. Assign yourself as the quartermaster in the clan menu. I'll show that in the background. Getting and improving castles and cities, and generally spending time managing your world, your kingdom in the cities and in the towns, things like that. So obviously for that reason, it's quite hard to level it up at the start. So just think of this as a passive level up, but try to put your learning skills in there so it grows up faster, because this is something you definitely want to be front ending and getting up as much as you can. Even though it's passive, get up as much as you can at the start. So while you level up your Steward skill, make sure to pick up some of the skills that can help you keep your costs of your army down too. So there's loads of skills in here that can reduce like wage costs, reduce costs for garrisons troops, injured troops, reduce food consumption. I'm not going to go through them all because it's literally on every line there's something of that manner. So I'm not going to go through every single one like that. But these are all on top of the passive skill you get for having a high Steward skill. So I'm going to show you the Steward skill now. And it doesn't really tell you here that you get a party increase. But if you look, it says about having increased party and about managing your party. If you click the little button to the side, you'll see that from having a high skill, you get this increase to your party limit. And it's pretty big. You can see here, my Steward skill is not that high, but the increase to party limit is the same as like going up 3 or 4 tiers of your renown. So this is definitely not something to be overlooked, and definitely something you want to funnel some points into early on to get that initial boost to your party size. And then later on, you get a big boost when you start having all the cities. So yeah, Steward skill number 2. Number 3, finally, is the leadership perk. Being a respected leader has its rewards, so grab the final skill, Ultimate Leader, if you level up leadership all the way. This gives +1 to your party size for every skill point in leadership after level 250, if that makes sense. So if you have 275 points in leadership, you'll have a 25 increase to your party limit. There's also some other perks in here to pick up along the way. Leader of the Masses at level 125, which gives a +5 party size for each town you own, I think. Uplifting Spirit at level 175 increases your party size by 10. And there's some small skills dotted around the other trees as well. I haven't gone through every single tree because these change all the time. For an example, if you go into bow, there's a skill called Merry Men at level 150 that gives +3 to party size. I wouldn't specifically be going into all these other trees, all these other skills, looking for a party increase, because you could level bow up to 150 just for this. Let's say you're not using a bow. So you put points into bow to get it up, and then you get a +3 to party size. You can literally get that by having a couple of more levels in stewardship passively. So don't go looking for these little points, but if you see them, if you're, let's say you're leveling up bow, just look what comes along each step and pick it up if you want it. My fourth and final tip is another huge one that gives massive increases to your party size, but it's more harder to do, which is why I've left it to the end. And that is using influence to buy policies. So influence kind of works like, as you have your own kingdom, if you take a castle, for example, you will earn influence in that kingdom that you can spend. If you win a huge fight against an enemy, you will gain influence in that kingdom, and you can use it to grow an army. So you can convince people to join your army. You can convince people to sway policies and sway votes. So if there's a new castle taken, you can vote for them to give you the castle. I do have a full influence guide on my channel if you want to check that out. I'll link that down below as well. But basically, you would use influence to influence these policies. And the two policies you want to be looking at for party size are Royal Guard. So once you've progressed the main story and you have your own kingdom, you can take Royal Guard, which increases the ruler's party size by 60. I think this used to be 80, but it's now gone down to 60. And you can see on my character here, I've got this and I'm the leader of the kingdom. So I get this huge increase of 60 to my party size, which is crazy considering how easy it is to put a policy in place. There is another one called Noble Retinues, I don't know if I've said that right, which increases the party size of the leader by 40. So this used to be 50 and it got reduced to 40, I think, but still a huge increase for influence. So in summary, how to increase your party size in Mount and Blade Bannerlord. Increase your clan tier up to tier 5 for big increases each tier. Increase your steward skill, put some points in it early so that it levels up faster. And then when you start getting towns and cities, watch it grow much faster. For the big passive increase that you get to your party. Increase your leadership skill for that big bonus at the end and a couple of little bonuses along the way. And if you see any other points dotted in other trees as you're leveling, if you're leveling like two-hander, just check to see if there's any skills in there that give a little perk. And then once you hit the through the main story and you have your own kingdom, start looking at those policies to get those big increases as well. I've done all of these things, well, kind of a mixture of these things, and I've got like nearly 250 as my party limit, which is pretty huge. I can pretty much go up to most castles and at least take it over with losses. I can always take the castle though. If I had another army join me, I could probably take it as a smooth victory, but I can always walk up to a castle and give it a fair shot with a party size of 250. Big army of 300 comes at me, which is like multiple people joined together. I can stand my ground with this size. Just be aware that this game changes quite drastically with each new update. It's in early access. I think I looked at this, I was going to make this video about 6 months ago, and when I looked in the skill trees, there were different perks in different places that are now gone. So yeah, if you're watching this in the future and you're like, oh, there's no point in bow, yeah, that can change quite often. So I think the three that will always be relevant is clan tier, steward skill, leadership skill. Little niche areas are going to change. I can't see why they would remove any of the big three, but just beware. Let people know in the comments if you think something's drastically changed, but hopefully this guide stands the test of time. I'm not going to waste any more of your time here. If this has helped, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're over 1,000 subscribers now, which is mad good. So yeah, big fan of that. I've got guides on money making, combat, trading, formations. I'm working some more now, which should be out in the next couple of weeks. So subscribe if you want to see more. Catch you in the next one. Bye.